Okay, everyone, that is the top of the hour, and we will get going. Welcome. Just want to thank everyone for coming and dropping in again. Tonight, my current plan, unless I get distracted, is to pick up where I left off last time and go through and finish up the MahApps integration. So previously, we had started down this path of for the 3.0 release in material design in Xaml. Um, the MahApps integration was broken. And the short version is MahApps is upgrading to 2.0. It is currently a work in progress. It is not released yet. There are preview NuGet packages out there. But as part of doing that, they've standardized on a lot of new ways of actually managing the brush names and their theme resources. So if anyone's interested in what we did last time, there is the stream from last time. Alternatively, if anybody's interested in it, you can always find recordings of my stream. If I can type my own URL correctly, there you go. So basically, ketokaboo.com is my domain, and I've just done subdomains on any platform that I'm on. So if you're looking for me, platformname.ketokaboo.com. If I'm on there, you'll find it. So that's basically where that is at. So my plan is to go through and finish it out. As I recall from last time, we got fairly far down the path of implementing MahApps. It was just there were some crashes in the demo app, and it looked like somebody had thrown some comments on my draft pull request indicating what the problem might be. So let's drop over there and take a look real quick. If I can switch my camera mode. There we go. Okay, so this is the pull request 1483 that we had started on last time. And again, if anybody has questions, I'm happy to deviate from my predefined idea of what I think I'm going to do and do something else. But I figured it... So this is where I'm going to go unless somebody has questions or examples or whatnot that they want to see, because I am always happy to jump in and help people with projects that they're working on. Otherwise, I'm just going to carry on my merry way and keep working on trying to get this release done. So we implemented MahApps, a whole bunch of stuff with brushes and theming and fun regex to go through and auto code out a lot of it for us. And then this, oh boy. Amamidima, wow, I probably butchered that, and I'm sorry. Went through and commented that it looked like some of the base styles that we were using have had their keys changed from MahApps Metro styles slider thumb to MahApps styles thumb slider. So couple things here that they've cleaned up. Looks like a lot of dropping of the dot metro portion of this. So if we clean these guys up, hopefully this thing starts working. I think we are pretty close. So let me grab my code because I am still in the same state as where we left off from before. And I think we're going to go here, make everything a little bit bigger. So for anybody on a smaller screen, hopefully that's nice and viewable. And again, if people have questions or are confused or lost, feel free to just stop me and ask questions, and I'm happy to go back and explain stuff. So for MahApps, they brought in basically all of these theme brushes. And so we went through and we converted from our built-in theme object, which just contains basically a long list of colors. There's not a lot else. In material design, there's not really a concept of like gradient brushes. And so it kind of makes our life a little bit easier in that we can just pass a whole bunch of colors around, which is all that we have here for our theme. There are a couple properties we're not really dealing with right now, namely theme name, display name, and color scheme. We're just setting them to an empty string so that they work. I'm not entirely sure what the appropriate values are to put here anyway, so I'm not handling them. But mostly we just want to get this working. So we have this demo app here, and let's just fire this up, and we'll walk through it real quick. That goes through and actually shows um, uh, the MahApps and Draggables integration. So for those people who haven't heard the term Draggables before, it is another library by the same author who initially started the material design and Xaml project. It basically brings a nice material design themed tab control in, but it, as the name implies, you can drag the tabs around, undock them, redock them, all that kind of fancy stuff that you would want to do with tabs. So that's what that library is. And so if you want to work with it, it is there. But more importantly, we want to make sure MahApps works because MahApps is insanely popular, and we want to try and get that going. So compile, compile, compile. Go, computer, go. I believe in you. Come on, Visual Studio. I know it's been so long since you've had to compile something. Just launch. I was switching branches earlier, so it probably had to do a full recompile of everything. Since I probably confused it with all of my changing. But let's go through here. So this is all of the wonderful stuff there. This is the MahApps, and so we notice the list box works great. The buttons work great. I'm going to note that button is wrong, so we probably have an issue there. Numeric up down, that's not quite right. Something's off there. Data grid. This one's styled out basically the way I would expect. So it's not really the MahApps data grid, but I think that's okay. I think that's desirable. So we've got some issues on the numeric up-down control. I'm pretty sure if I click sliders, this is where that other crash occurs. Yeah, so static resource holder, cannot find resource style, horizontal track, and we've got all kinds of stuff in here. So I think this is related to where that comment was on all of the stuff that I did wrong. Okay, so we've got a tab control, tab items, sliders, and I think this is this guy here, because this guy basically just has two sliders, so slider and a range slider. I've never understood why people do this. In general, when you're declaring your styles, you usually want your styles with a static resource in WPF. So basically there's two resource resolver markup extensions that you can use, static resource and dynamic resource. And basically the two use cases for them are static resource everywhere and dynamic resource only when there's a chance that that resource is actually going to change at runtime. So things like brushes or colors, if you're letting the user toggle between like dark and light theme, for example, you might use a dynamic resource so that automatically updates. Your styles, unless you're doing something to automatically like swap that style at runtime or do something magical with it, you don't want to do this. You basically just want to use a static resource to go through and resolve it, because a static resource is going to be a lot more performant because it looks it up once and it's done. It doesn't do all of the change notification stuff. Okay, so let's go through here and let's take a look at these sliders. So this is going to be down in the MahApps theme, MahApps library, going to be buried in themes, range slider. Okay, so I think if I understood all of the comments correctly, this needs to go away. Nope. This needs to go away. Drop the metro. And we can go and pull this style dictionary real quick and just validate that row. Let's see. GitHub, MahApps. Let's just go look at it real quick. It's probably the easiest way to do it. And just validate that we get all of these keys right. We could always go through and sort of guess and check our way through it, but I'm not real interested in guess and check. Prefer to just look it up and be on the right path the first time. So let's see here. So MahApps metro component styles control slider.xaml. Styles control slider.xaml. So this is where I expect to find it, and I'm looking for slider thumb. So slider.thumb, and let's see. Let's back that out just a little bit. Okay, so thumb.slider. So we may have changed. So in addition, I missed this if that was in the comment before. This is actually this. Let's see. So style based on there. Template material slider thumb. So I'm guessing this is ours, which should be in here somewhere. Material slider thumb. Oh, so that must be in the base library. Let me just confirm that real quick. So themes, probably, nope, this is the colors library. Wrong project. Let's try this again. Main library, themes, and once again looking for sliders. I guess slider won't be in here. Let's just hunt this guy down real quick. Just want to make sure I didn't break this somewhere else along the way. Something in the back of my head is telling me that the key for the thumb has changed. Control template. Nope. Right there. Oh, there is one. Slider. I'm just blind. Okay, cool. Great. So we're swapping out theirs, and once again, trying to decide if dynamic resource is what we want here. Because a dynamic resource does let somebody else theoretically inject something. No, I don't think we want to do this. If somebody wants to put in a different template here, they can override this style itself. There's nothing magical about this. They can just override this whole thing. Okay, so there are these, and let's see. Let's hunt this one down inside of MahApps. Make sure we get this guy right. Horizontal middle thumb. So was there a comment about horizontal middle thumb? With styles metro thumb, range slider. Okay, so this is probably back up a directory, controls range slider. No. No, it's got to be in a different resource dictionary. This guy's not coming up with anything. So, where are you? Where are you? So let's just grab this key here. Slider, thumb slider. Okay, so these keys are correct. Okay, I'm just going to trust them for now. Let's see here. So this guy gets swapped out for this one. Boom. And then we need horizontal track, which I believe was the initial problem. So let's see, MahApps, this guy here gets swapped out. Great. Let's try it and see what happens. This should hopefully get us close. I'm really hoping this lands it close to working. So it'll be nice to have this done so that people can play with it. For reference, if anybody watching is actually using the 3.0 preview packages for material design, I know I've seen some people log issues, but I also appreciate it if people let me know that they're using it and things are working. I'm used to the idea of when things are broken, I assume people will let me know. But I do like it when people test the preview packages and let me know, hey, things are working, things aren't. this, that, and the other, it gives me a little bit more confidence. So I know nobody's using it with MahApps right now because this has been horrendously broken. Let's see. Cannot find accented square button style. Ah, because this one has changed. Okay, so I'm going to put this back to a dynamic resource just so that it stops crashing. But ultimately, we're going to need to swap this in for the appropriate new MahApps style, which I'm guessing they probably just have a new style key for this. Should not be hard to track down. And this demo app has been fairly light on the samples. So if there are extra MahApps controls that aren't working, I've been trying to go through and add them into this demo as we go, just so that things start working. Hey, there we go. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. Boom! Slider's working. Okay, let's go back to this button. Let's fix this guy real quick. So this guy here was accented square button style. So I'm guessing if we jump back over to MahApps, if I look in button, I'm going to be looking for something that's accented in square button. Styles, button flat, button flat. Let's just do a search for accent. Buttons, accent, square. That sounds pretty close to what I want. So this is then going to become a static resource. Drop that guy in. Fix the compile error. Boom! Now works. That's interesting. It holds its color. It's interesting that that's hanging like that. Is there an output error? There's nothing wired to this button. Interesting. Wonder why that's happening. Okay, anyway, not going to stress about it right now. So then the numeric up-down control. So these guys here really should be flat button-ish style. So let's take a look at this. So these are just control numeric up-down. So these are MahApps controls. So let's go and take a look at that. Numeric up down. I'm going to guess, yeah, that some of these guys here have been swapped out. There's the text box. That's fine. I'm less concerned about all of these. Lots of template binding stuff. Great, great, great. Lots of stuff in there. Lots of stuff in there. Most of these shouldn't be problematic because template bindings will get evaluated at compile time. These buttons here, these are ultimately the chromeless button style. So let's hunt these guys down. Are these guys expected to be defined somewhere? Yeah, so these guys used to exist. Let's go back over to MahApps. Chromeless. There's the new style key. Boom. That's what I want. So that goes there on that repeat button. That goes there. Trying to decide on some of these other ones. I kind of want to just dynamic resource. I kind of just want to go through these guys real quick and verify what all of these are here, because I suspect some of these things have been changed. And I might just hunt all of these real quick, because I'm noticing these color brushes. Let's just check. Live Xaml edit and continue failed me, so let's restart. because I'm noticing these brushes in here, and I'm pretty sure all of these got swapped out. Now these ones will work because these are material design brushes, but these other ones are MahApps brushes, and I'm pretty sure these all need to be fixed. We might just take a quick gander through the other controls to see what else may or may not need updating. Okay, so MahApps, numeric up, down. Boom. Control template to Windows style. Oops. This is a control template. I need the style. This is what I want. So let's go back. Yeah. I understand. I broke stuff. I get it. You're unhappy with me. I get it. The dynamic resource does not magically cast a control template to a style. What a shock. It does need help. Okay. We will fix it. Yeah, these other ones, like this gray brush here. I need. Let's see here, because this is. Let's see. Close. Yeah. So I think like all of those other ones just need to be swapped out for these new keys. The convenient part is now we have a list of all of the keys in here. So the white color, black color, and I think all of these just need to be MahApps brushes, etc. Because it's really nice the way that they've reorganized all of their resources. It makes a lot of sense, and it's easy to find it, but it just means that there's a lot of broken stuff. So, okay, the buttons are now styled correctly, but the color resource is not. So, for example, this path is trying to use gray brush 1, but there is no gray brush 1 anymore. So, we get an empty color, which is not that helpful. So I think we can pretty much divine what all of these are supposed to be just from name. So let's do this. Gray brush 1 replaces all instances with that. Great. Okay. Let's see. Just scan all of these through. Anything that's not preemptively. Control disabled brush. Let's just check these ones. Controls disabled. Again, most of these are not hard to figure out, but they are. You know what I should do? I should actually replace in current project. Yeah, just do it. Things are under source control. We can edit later. Okay, so let's keep hunting through these dynamic resources. So that one's good, that one's good. Show me dynamic resource. Gray brush 8. So let's do... You know what we could do? Let's get fancy. So we're going to do something a little ingenious here. So we're going to enable regex. Do something like this. Okay, so what this says is match on the text gray brush. \D means number, so 0 through 9, and then the plus means any number of repetitions. So it's going to match any number of digits afterwards, right? And then we are going to replace this with, grab this guy here, because really all we want to do is change this out. So this becomes, so $1 is going to be the value inside of our first set of parens. So this value here. So replace. We'll open file. So let's open the file. So if this doesn't work, we can undo it. That seemed to work rather nicely. Excellent. Okay, so accent color brush. Let's just pick this one up. Accent color brush, and I believe this is the one that we want. So we'll take this, hunt. We'll turn regex off. Paste. Place all in project. Great. Okay, dynamic resource black brush. I believe we saw this one a second ago. Let's see, black. Jump back. Paste. Place all. Yeah, do it. And then white brush. Same thing. Grab this guy. Paste. Probably could have divined that color just from looking at the name. Okay, so all these dynamic resources are good. This is a material design resource, so we know that it'll match. Validation air template, this is another one that will match. Okay, so I think content font family. These ones I don't think are right. Let's check. Text brush. So I think that's this guy here. See that guy. Paste, replace in project. Please do. Great. Picked up a few more occurrences for me. Content font size. Interesting. I don't know what to do about that. Also font family. I'm guessing these must be together. So let's go take a look. And actually real quick, let me just hunt this across my solution. I don't recall this being a material design one. Nope. So it's only in the MahApps theme, which means it's got to be coming from here. So back to the top. Let's back up here. So I'm looking for something hopefully called font. Fonts. That sounds close enough. Okay, so what are we after here? We want font size and font family for content. Font content size. So that's probably that guy there. So that goes there. Font family. I assume because this is content font family, it's going to be this one here. Okay. That goes like that. Clear text button font size. So let's check here. Clear text button font size. That's going to be this guy. Text box mouse over border brush. That's probably not in here. Let's see. Text box. These are text box brushes. So let's actually just check our list over here. Text box focus border brush. Do we have text box brushes? There we go. That looks pretty close. So text box focus border brush. Text box focus border brush. This guy. So let's grab him. Boom. Mouse over border. So let's see. Mouse over border. The one right below it. See, this is what I mean. The resource names do very much make sense, and it tracks. Okay, so that fixes all of the ones for the numeric up down. Cool. Numeric up down is mouse over, is pressed, changes the color. Numeric up and numeric down basically have the same stuff for is moused over and is pressed. Great. Is mouse over. We've got some stuff that sets on the text box and on the border. Is focused. Is keyboard focused. Okay, so those are really the states that I'm interested in. Is mouse over, is pressed, and it's focused. And hopefully all of those look right. So that would really excite me if we could merge this in and then roll out this NuGet package. I think we will go through these other resource dictionaries and just hunt the dynamic resources out of here, just for the sake of checking them. So let's see, numeric up, down. So focused, that looks good. Whoa. Is not a valid value for property type fill. So that was a trigger on mouse over, I believe. Let's see. So polygon down, fill. So the fill property on this guy, I assume is just a straight color. Accent base, polygon down, fill. Let's go and look at this. What did I do? What did I do? Set color. Accent base. This. These all just set the. Well, these don't actually set a brush. Oh. So the question then is, are these things expected to be color or brush resources? Okay, let's go and look, because I don't actually remember. So I believe these are back up a level if I'm not mistaken. Themes, because this is the stuff that was auto-generated. Theme manager. Theme. I'm trying to remember where this was. Yeah, this guy pulls it all out. Does a bunch of work. Oh, where are you? The code is auto-generated. Where is it? It's got to be back in here. I would have thought it was here. Window brush. Let me look, because I think I checked the code out for this reason so that it was easier to hunt it around. Let's just check that. Let's see, MahApps. Let's pull this guy open, because I suspect my Visual Studio settings will remind me what I was looking at, because I'm pretty sure it was one of these in here that had it. Maybe I'm just getting confused. But I thought there was a template file that was used to generate out all of these color themes. Maybe I'm just not remembering it. Let's see. Maybe it was styles themes. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Theme template. So these things are expected to be colors, not not brushes. So that, oh, so I should use brush as accent. Okay, got it. So I shouldn't use colors, I should use MahApps. I get it. I get it. Turns out I was an idiot. Okay, so MahApps colors accent base. This should probably be switched. Let's see, put you up here. Since we did a full find and replace on the project when we put this in, we should probably do the same thing when we take it back out. Let's see here. So, copy. Come on. Don't think too hard for yourself. Let's see, put this guy back in, and rather than colors, this becomes brushes. Excellent. Replace. Okay, rinse, repeat. We'll try it one more time. I think we're getting close. I think we are getting close. Then maybe we'll switch. I know there was a bunch of questions that pulled up later in the day on the Gitter chat room as well. And I do apologize. I haven't been quite as active on the Gitter chat as I've been in the past. My extra workload with teaching has started to occupy some extra time. So hopefully that's starting to wind down a little bit. I wrote some software this weekend to make my life easier, because that is what developers do. We see a problem and we instantly fix it. There we go. Much better. Much better. Ha ha ha. Boom. Okay, so numeric up down is working. Sliders are working. Buttons are working. Toggles appear to be working. Let's just change the palette out real quick to make sure everything is respecting palette changes. So let's do primary of teal. I'm sorry, primary of teal, an accent of lime or light green, I guess. Go back and just make sure these things show appropriately. So that one doesn't really have any theming. That one themed out nicely. Those appear to have themed out nicely. Those themed out nicely. Okay, cool. So everything updated as it should. Woot woot. Okay, so we're just gonna run through the dynamic resources and just kind of spot check them real quick and make sure that these all lay out correctly. So dynamic resource. Let's see here. So this one, path icon control. Find all. What style do you think you are supposed to be? So you are not going to resolve. So path icon content style. Where is this? This is on the flyout. Let's come back to the flyout for a moment because I don't think we were testing that very well yet. So that is fine. Because this is oh no, this is not fine. This is expected to change out the fonts on everything to the Roboto ones, and that will not do it because we saw that back over here the fonts were changed, or at least the keys for them were. So let's just take a quick look. Yeah, fonts default. Let's come here. This becomes that. Extra points for spelling. Header font comes in. Boom. Now the other one worked because we properly switched our key, but that one, toggle switch font family. Let's see, which is this guy here. Boom. Toggle switch header font family. And I do question, and I think I might seriously take a look at switching over the material design stuff to these ones. Obviously that would be another breaking change, and I'm not interested in adding too many more breaking changes to the 3.0 release, so I think we're going to stop where we're at, I hope. But I do like this style. Okay, so that handles the fonts. We did the numeric up down. We checked the range slider, I think. Let's see, horizontal thumb width. What's that one? Show me where you're defined. So not in our library. Horizontal thumb width. So where is that going to be? Let's see here, because this is inside of sliders, so I'm going to go within the same spot. Trying to decide. Adam, does that mean you're watching? I can't tell. I'm getting heckled with font family stuff. Suggesting Cascadia, which if you have not tried it out, it is very worthwhile. I probably should be switching over all my Visual Studio instances, but after my reinstall last week, I have not gone back to fix it. There is the guys we're looking for. Let's see here. So, horizontal thumb width. So let's grab horizontal thumb width. I suspect we're probably going to have, there are two of these. Paste, paste. Okay, let's go back. Dynamic resource. Probably should just be highlighting Control F. Okay, so that one we fixed. That one's a material design reference. Material design. Again, see, I like this style of naming keys, but this style currently only exists inside of MahApps one. So let's see, vertical thumb height. So vertical thumb height. Okay, and back here, paste, paste. Because this is sort of the quote-unquote problem with dynamic resources. You don't always catch when resources are missing, because it's not an error if a dynamic resource fails to resolve. It just simply doesn't give you one. Okay, and all of these are material design ones. Checkbox disabled. Yes, they are. Yes, they are jerks like that. Okay, so let's see here. This is... Okay, so that's a built-in one. Just wanted to make sure I hadn't accidentally turned that one off. Okay, so that guy's there. Window commands. Nothing fancy here. Great. Okay, so the flyout was the last one where we had to do something weird with. So dynamic resource. Let's see here. Let's just check this guy because I'm curious why I didn't see flyout. This was the view we didn't check. What is that supposed to be? Whatever it is, it's clearly getting cropped. Something M? Something M. And a couple settings. So let's find this in the demo app because I don't know flyout content. Okay, this is interesting. one. We'll just kill those extra namespaces. It's got a couple text boxes that are floating hint text boxes without any floating hints. I'm not entirely sure what to do with this. This is weird, to say the least. We need to add something to this because this is not helpful. Do I ever use Snoop? Yes, very much. Snoop is actually my go-to tool for any sort of UI debugging, and quite often, occasionally, view model debugging, just because it's got the built-in support for being able to view your view models and jump through and just arbitrarily invoke methods on them. So yes, definitely. I tend to turn off the Visual Studio, live visual tree stuff, and favor using Snoop instead, just because Snoop is so much more powerful. The ability that it gives you for being able to arbitrarily, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. The ability that Snoop gives you to basically arbitrarily mess with properties and just arbitrarily invoke stuff is really powerful. If you haven't played with it, on the Snoop tab, there's like a PowerShell REPL where you can basically start invoking stuff on your UI objects in your view model and just kind of play around with stuff. Now, be aware, you can get your app into completely invalid states doing this. Like, all bets are off once you start messing with it. But it pretty much is it gives you the power to go through and do what you want with it. So it is definitely my weapon of choice. There's a developer, Bastian Smith, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, who does a ton of work on it. And I know I was seeing mention from him that he's got, I don't remember whether he has .NET Core 3.0 support already in, or he was working on adding it. If it's not in, it's coming shortly. So if you don't have the latest version, definitely update as well. But this needs to be updated here. So I think let's close some of these things down. I got too much going. Let's see here. So the flyout commands, this guy is almost assuredly part of our problem. So the question is, what did this one used to do? Because I think material design. How do you close the tab? So along Visual Studio here, middle click by default on my mouse closes them down. I believe that's default Visual Studio behavior. I never intentionally enabled that. I don't think I have any I know there's been times where I've added extensions for doing tab manipulation stuff, but I don't think I have any installed. Nothing that I would see doing it. Resharper is currently disabled. So yeah, I believe it's just middle click right across. Let's see. So material design shadow depth 5. I'm a little surprised. Could still. Yeah, I know that. I actually just spoke at a Visual Studio launch event last week. There was, it was basically, it was marketed as a Visual Studio 2019 launch event, despite the fact that Visual Studio 2019 launched like 6 months ago, or 4 months ago, something like that. And there was a lot of just kind of tips and tricks and debugging stuff. If you're interested in following it, trying to think of, so on Twitter, let's see, go. Kendra Haven, I think is how you say her last name, at GotHeap. She does a lot of work. She's a project manager on, I want to say, the Visual Studio test team, but she also tends to tweet out a lot of just sort of useful Visual Studio tips and tricks. Trying to remember, there is another PM that I follow, and I am blanking on her name. it'll come to me later. But she tends to do a lot of the same thing where she will just tweet out just tips and tricks, because there's all those kind of like little keyboard shortcuts and quick interactions of how to do stuff, and it's not always intuitive. So this I want to look at real quick, because I thought the Shadow Assist class actually did this better, because this is going to automatically go and resolve it, whereas the Shadow Assist class is going to end up doing using it's got a built-in dictionary that it's going to use, so it'll reuse some of the effects. Got it, but because this thing doesn't have it, okay, that's why it's being done that way. Okay, sure, great. Let's just check the themes and make sure that that still lines up. I don't believe we broke that. Great, so it's just going to reuse that shadow depth effect. Perfect. Okay. And then KD. So controlKD is one of my favorite keyboard shortcuts for auto format my document. I also do it. You'll notice I have all of these dots here. I tend to run with white spaced enabled, just so I can see it. In the tabs versus spaces debate, I'm definitely a spaces guy. I can at least live with tabs as long as tabs are the only thing in your document. If you start mixing them, I just get twitchy and have to replace them. Don't keep up with current stuff like I used to. We're still working on an obsolete .NET 3.5 product. Whoo, boy. That is old. Yeah, glad to hear you're switching to Core, because, wow, there are a lot of fixes and improvements between those two. And if you haven't looked at it, especially if you're using VS 2019, 16.3 is the one that comes with C# 8 features. And there's, let me pull it up real quick. I think I've got it. There's a wonderful documentation page that goes through what's new in the language. Because even if you aren't using, yeah, here it is. Because even if you are targeting an old version of .NET, a lot of times, as long as everyone on the team is using the latest compiler, i.e. everyone's updated to latest version of Visual Studio, you can take advantage of the new compiler features even if you're targeting an old version of the runtime. Because a lot of these things, it's just a matter of having the newer compiler to generate the appropriate IL code. So you can still reference old runtimes and old APIs and all that, but do it with the newer language features. So I like to keep track of that page. That one will jump into C# 8, but you can walk backwards and take a look at all the versions of 7.0. Ah, yes. I understand that. There's a lot of news to keep track of too. Like, it seems like Microsoft is always coming out with new stuff, and it can be very hard to track with it. So Core 2.0 service heading. Yep. And even with Core 2.0, there was 2.1 and 2.2 where they, depending on what you're doing, there was a lot of useful stuff that got added. I know there was a lot of features around identity. If you're talking ASP.NET Core 2.0, or I believe that was added in 2.1 and then improved in 2.2. Made for the middleware to separate services is a breeze. That's awesome. It sounds like you guys are at least moving in the right direction. And for reference, Microsoft Ignite is next week. There are going to be some awesome announcements coming. So if you're available or have the opportunity, our office, yeah. If you're available for the Microsoft Ignite stuff, I believe it starts next Monday. Definitely tune in. I know there's links for like Channel 9 videos. I don't know where else they're streaming it. But there's going to be lots of cool announcements coming with that next week. So either tune in if you're available, or there's always like recap videos or what new, or kind of like what's new, what's happening stuff. Next week, my stream is going to move to Thursday instead of Monday nights. And so that'll be after, I believe, all the Microsoft Ignite announcements. So I might do a run through of all the stuff I think is cool, which is probably very different. I openly admit I am not the normal Microsoft developer. Um, so that's not exactly uncommon. But I might run through at least all the stuff that I think is awesome, and that. So let's see. Flyout header font size. I think this is another one I need to change since I got slightly distracted, but I do not mind. I always enjoy talking about this stuff. If it's not apparent, I very much love my C# and Microsoft everything. Let's see, flyout size. So where do you control your flyout? Why do I not see flyout in this list? So you are not in here. Let me just check and make sure. These top two ones, the material design, body and paper, are both built-in ones to the material design library. So I don't think of XAML shouldn't exist though. I know. So I'm a big fan of XAML. If it's not apparent, because I'm doing a ton of WPF stuff. I love it, but there are problems with it, and yeah, especially HTML, CSS. So when it comes to styling, like XAML is really, really verbose. Like you can get 6 or 7 levels of nesting without breaking a sweat for just toggling a simple property that where HTML and CSS are significantly better at doing. So especially in that regard, yeah, I'll agree with you. HTML and CSS do a great job. Xamarin Forms, their version of XAML, they actually implemented some basic CSS styling for it. So you can, yeah, agreed. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The Xamarin Forms XAML has CSS styling, so you can fix some of the ugliness of XAML styles and just use CSS styles, but it is a little limited and narrow in scope in what it lets you do. We need a universal UI if that's possible. So WinUI 3, let me find that guy real quick. I believe this is going to be the way of the future and where things are headed. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Yeah, so this one's a little bit old, but this sort of gives some of the information about kind of what Microsoft is thinking and where they're looking at heading with it. Basically, right now they've got 3 versions of XAML: WPF, UWP, and Xamarin Forms, and they can't agree. And there's lots of subtle differences between each of them that just kind of start to fall apart. And so I think and again, I have no inside knowledge on this, so everything I say here is pure Kevin speculation, but it's trying to start to bring those things together so that we stop having to have kind of all of these bifurcated versions. Oh yeah, and to some degree, I don't know about getting other language support. Like you can kind of get away with stuff with like Iron Python, but starting to mix that with some of the XAML stuff gets weird and isn't like the tooling isn't really there. Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually one of the debates that I run into with a lot of coworkers when it comes to like web-based programming stuff is you run into a client that needs some app built, and there's always the question of, well, does this need to be a thick client or could this be a web app? And that's a very legitimate vote, and the amount of stuff that you can do on the web keeps increasing, and so the necessity of a native app gets smaller and smaller. Now, there's certain things that I think a native app will always do better at, and always have more access to hardware and be able to do really device-specific stuff. So I don't think they'll ever go away, but I think the web is going to slowly eat up as big of a market share as it can, if it hasn't already. Yeah, and that is very true. It's actually one of those. So Microsoft's Blazor is it's one of those. It's an interesting looking product to see kind of where it goes because they're trying to basically get that. Um, it, some people have described it as like Silverlight V2, which isn't quite fair, but it is basically that trying to take advantage of a lot of the WebAssembly to be able to run your C# in the browser. They did, yeah. I believe they released Blazor out for server side with client side forthcoming. Don't quote me on that. I haven't done a lot of Blazor. I've listened in on some of like their community stand-ups that they do on YouTube, and it sounds really cool. Um, I will be very interested to see if it gets how the adoption goes because there's all these cool demos and things that they show off, and I really want to see less of demo show off and more of some companies showing off their products built with it because I think that'll be the real test because a product that doesn't get adopted just it'll end up going the same way as Silverlight and die. Yeah, yeah, and it is definitely early, but it is very much a cool concept. Yeah, browser side MVC3. Yeah, yeah, it really is, and it's really cool to actually see this stuff go. I've got a coworker that's very excited for Blazor. He's been playing with betas and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, again, it'll be interesting to see. I am so horribly distracted. Control helpers header font size. Flyout header font size. So MahApps something 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 font sizes. Uh, header font size. Flyout header. That guy. That's the magical incantation we want. Yeah. Yeah, and I assume by classic ASP you're referring to it more in the sense where it has the state that it sends back and forth and basically tries to make a stateless interaction stateful. Yeah. Yeah, the magical back end where stuff just flows and you get to code as though it all just works out of the box without needing to think. Yeah, and that I think would be the a big selling point because that was one of the nice things with that classic ASP with the state being able to flow for you is it made a lot of that kind of thinking and state management stuff that people have to kind of manually do all the time. You could a lot of times treat it with impunity. Let's see here, dynamic resources. We were clearing these things out, so we took care of that. I think it's just this path icon. This one I'm not entirely sure what to do about. Because I think that's what's happening. Is this is going in? Why is this? So this one may have actually been broken for a little while. Because all of the icon stuff in MahApps got stripped out and moved into a separate NuGet package. I'm curious if we just do. I don't even know if I'm gonna. I don't even know if I'm gonna hit anything for icon. Hamburger menu. Yeah, because it goes through the icon pack. So that's all samples, tests, samples. You don't want to work for me. I might end up... Let's just hunt this real quick. I seriously doubt they left this style just sitting there. Let's see here. What is the issue? Because these ones... We might just have to go and grab this from an old commit and just bring it in manually. Because I don't really want to have this have to take an extra dependency if I can help it. I'd like the only dependency for this library to just be MahApps proper without needing to pull in the NuGet package on top of it. Or the icons NuGet package on top of it. Let's see here. I wonder if there's an easy way I can... I mean, at this commit, it'll be findable. Because it should exist. Oh, that... let's go back. So we're at an old tree. I think if we just dive in, I can probably find my way into it. Let's see... Controls, maybe. I don't see it there. Because I was looking for something with like pack icon or icon. This was sort of a generic control back when it existed. Path icon content control. There it is. So here's the old guy. Trying to decide what to do with this, because we could just bring this guy in wholesale. Where is this header template? I'm wondering what makes the most sense, because this is basically an icon that doesn't exist in the library. Let's just bring this in wholesale for the moment. Sure, right here looks great. I think what I'll probably end up doing is dumping this at a certain point. Null to unset value converter. That probably doesn't exist, but let me look here. Let's see, so it's going to be, well, go find it, autocode button. Boom. There we go. So let's fire this guy up and take a look. I think this will probably get my flyout icon working. I'm not sure how much I like having to pull this guy back in. I'm almost wondering if maybe I abandon this arbitrary path here. I kind of want to see what this looks like. And then maybe just switch this out for one of our pack icons. That might end up being cleaner. The only drawback with the pack icon approach is those things change rapidly. For anybody who watches the repo, you'll notice that almost on a daily basis, there's an automated process that opens up pull requests to update the icons. I basically have a nightly run that goes through and default font. What did I do? Where is default font? Because that's most assuredly wrong. I've got a nightly process that goes through and runs and checks the material design icons for, oh yeah, that's not going to work. It checks the material design icons for updates, and if it detects one, it pulls through. It just pulls it in. So, and creates a new pull request for me. So you'll see those things come flying in all the time, but it also means that changes to the icons could then end up breaking this. Not horribly concerned about that, but they do make a lot of changes to it. And really when I'm reviewing those pull requests, all I'm looking for is to record any breaking changes, but most of the time it's just additions. There's a few times where they do revamp and repurpose what they are, but most of the time it doesn't matter. So flyout. So that really is just the left chevron, huh? So I'm thinking these things need hints. These things need hints and maybe some labels sitting on top of them or something. So this looks at least better though. Let's take a quick gander at the other demo app, because I think I might want to just swap this out for one of our pack icons if it really is just a left chevron like that. That doesn't seem like something I need to spend a lot of time hacking around and pulling in old templates and all of that jazz when there's probably a built-in pack icon that'll work just as fine or just as well for me. So we'll see where this goes. Okay, because I think I'm realizing I fixed all of the dynamic resources in my MahApps integration library, but probably there might still be missing stuff in the demo app. I'm a little less concerned about the demo app, but I do know that people tend to just fire it up and copy and paste the code. So let's see, icons. Icon pack. Something about a chevron. Yeah, so chevron left. I'm kind of thinking we just dump this guy in. No point in doing a lot of... I don't like having to do all of this kind of hacky workaround stuff. We're just going to drop this guy in right in place. Boom. So go deal with my name spacing for me. Thanks. And then I believe we just bring in this guy. Make sure we get all of our sizing stuff and flow direction and all that jazz worked out. And away we go. Just make sure this guy looks right. And I think I'll double check the dialogue stuff, but we haven't made any changes to it. We'll just make sure that that stuff all still flows nicely from the MahApps library, and then I think we publish. Move fast and break things. So we'll get that library rolling out the door, because I believe we already updated the new spec for it. I'll confirm that before I publish it, but I believe it's set with the next version number ready to roll out the door. Okay, so flyout. Great. Ooh. Why is chevron left showing up? Is there some weird flow direction thing going on here? Because this is the only thing that should be... So it swaps it out. What is going on? That isn't it. There's nothing in here. Okay, so the question of Snoop came up earlier. Let's go take a look, because I'm very confused. The size of this is wrong. That could just be the subtle difference between the path data on this icon and this one. So we can adjust that. But I am curious as to why this thing appears to be rotated, which is clearly not right. Okay, so let's track this guy. So down, where are we at? So there's a back button, content presenter. So this icon clearly ends up here, and the icon is supposed to be pointed left, but it is clearly not, which means probably a render transform. Not there. Not there. Let's keep walking up the food tree, at least to the button. Not there. Layout transform. There's a scale transform on the layout. And let's do left to right as well, just to see if something is, oh, I'm sorry, not left to right, flow direction. So that one is set. Where are you getting flipped? You're bound, but you ended up with left to right. And just missed something weird. Okay, am I dumb or stupid? Scale transform. That button has it. That doesn't. Okay, so it's somewhere in there. Is this scale transform on the back button doing anything weird to me? Let's see. Scale. Ah-ha-ha! Scale X -1. There it is. Okay. That is interesting to me because I did not set this up. Or did I? Let's see here. So part back button. Is this in my template or is this somewhere else? Layout transform. So we did this to ourselves. Why is this here? Why is this here? So it looks like this guy is spinning this thing around based upon the position of the flyout. Interesting. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm sort of wondering if in the interest of making this work, and I don't want to deal with changing all of those, we just cheat. Because if this is what it expects, now it's set up correctly. Okay, so let's deal with the size of this because the other one was much bigger. Because I want this to be somewhat comparable. I'm wondering about potentially making this thing different font, binding this to a font size. It might not be a bad idea. Let's go back to this guy here. Back. Let's see, that's a search. One more back. Take me back into my list. I'm sort of thinking that what I might do is cheat just a little bit. Flyout. Because I'm kind of wondering if we do this. Static resource, boom. And actually, let's do dynamic resource because these are ones that could be changing. Plus, if somebody wants to change it out, let it go. So let's just relaunch to make sure this goes, because I'm thinking this will end up bumping the size up, because just playing around with it, we ended up at 24-ish. I'm wondering if setting this here makes a little more sense. Yeah, great. We'll go with it. We'll go with it. That will get us pretty close. And I think at some point I should come back and revisit these layout transforms. Could not copy. Huh? What? Did something not terminate? Is something holding on to my reference? I don't see it open, but that doesn't mean it's not there somewhere. So let's just take a quick gander. Maybe it was Visual Studio blocking itself. It looks like it's going to launch just fine now. Okay, Visual Studio must have just decided it was going to hold on to it. Awesome. Let's take a look. Yeah, because it would be nice to not have to deal with that. So flyout. There, we're gonna go with that. If people have strong opinions on that, let me know. I do wonder if that's too small. Yeah, we'll worry about that in a minute. So progress dialog. Great. Input dialog. Looks like it's themed correctly. If I change out my palette again and do like, I don't know, pink as primary and light green as my secondary. Let's just make sure these things style correctly, which it looks like they did. This is interesting. These buttons don't look right. Why are those colors different? Let's take a look. Because I would have expected this blue to get swapped for a different color. Maybe these are hard-coded. Maybe they aren't. We'll know in a second. Let's take a quick look. So in Snoop, once you fire it up, you drag the crosshairs onto the app you want to snoop. And then the magical keyboard shortcut is you put your mouse over the control you're interested in and hit Control-Shift together. And it will navigate this visual tree down as close as it can reasonably get. So let's see here. So this is MahApps Brushes Accent. What? Thought we changed that resource. Part affirmative button. Let me just make sure that we aren't. This isn't us. This is probably part of the problem. These keys. These are almost assuredly wrong. Okay, so we need to fix these too. Style, material design, flat button, button. So those guys there are just implicit styles on button and button base. But these ones, I'm guessing, if we were to take Snoop here real quick and look at the style key, or style that's being applied. Okay, too much typing. Style, filter for me, please. Yeah, see, this is, you note this style key? MahApps styles, button, dialogues, accent. Yeah, so that's probably the problem. MahApps styles, dialogue, button, accent. All right, I think that was the right change. Let me just check it here real quick against the diff. Let's see, dialogues. That one. Accent dialog square button. Okay, so dialogues accent, and then let's check the other one, because I suspect I'll see the same thing. So it dove me all the way down into here, so we just back up to here. This guy doesn't have a style applied to him, but I suspect I need to do the same thing here. So let's just find the docs for this guy. I don't think I need that open, do I? Yeah, I do. Okay. Let's see. So styles, and let's jump back to buttons, because I assume they're going to be buried in here. So something about, nope, not the button I wanted. Dialogue. No, they're not there. Okay, so maybe inside of the dialogue itself. I don't see that. Dialogue. So themes, dialogues. Oh, so these guys are themes. Wait, what? Not there. Where are you? Where are you? Clean window button. VS. Let's back up a level. Themes, dialogue. Maybe in here. There we are. Styles, buttons, dialogues. Styles, buttons, dialogues. Accent, accent, highlight. So we just did accent. Pretty sure this is our other one. Boom. Those two guys. Rinse, repeat. I need to quit saying that I think we're very close to done, because I clearly keep shooting myself in the foot doing that. Clearly. But it is nice to see this thing come together. Anything else? It seems like every time I open these files, I keep finding just one more thing. Just one more thing. There's always just one more thing. There was a project a coworker was working on last week, and it should have taken about, well, I should say we first estimated it at like 4 to 6 hours. 5 days later. It's one of those things just did not go the way they were supposed to. Okay, so we've got that. Great, great, great. Okay, let's palette this guy out. Something big and obnoxious, because pink and light green is clearly the best color theme you can go with. No. Still doesn't pick up the right theme. Why? Why do you not pick up the right theme? I'm wondering if there's extra buttons in here. No, we got the... Questions. Okay, so this guy drove me down. Affirmative button. See, the background. More importantly, it's targeting MahApps brushes accent, which is fine, except for that's the wrong color. I'm pretty confident we swapped that color out. Let's see, style. Let's see, MahApps style, button, dialogues, accent. Let's just dive into this style and make sure that it is as expected. Based on, let's see, these ones should be based on material design flat buttons. So if it picked up mine, I should see it based on that. Let's see, setters. Property, dynamic resource, MahApps brush accent. That doesn't look right. So that's not a good thing. Why did you not resolve to mine? Why did you not resolve to my theme? You should have, and you didn't. Okay, that means somebody's closer. Keep walking up. MahApps styles, dialogues, accents. Let's just make sure I didn't typo this key. Because more importantly, if it lands on the default one here, it should have 4 setters. If it lands on mine has no setters. So back off, back on. Style. So this guy here, which one did you land on? How many setters do you have? 4 setters, which looks a whole lot more like these 4 than my 4. Because the assumption was that this guy, paste. Ahaha. Turns out if you don't typo your key correctly, it won't work. I do wonder if this is appropriate, because this is going for an accent flat button. I want to double check, because I thought we had, because here's the flat button style, I thought we had ones that were, yeah, I think we might want to use this flat accent button. This way it actually picks up the accent color, because if it just goes to straight flat button, it uses the primary color rather than the other one. Hey, look at that. That looks better. Okay, but I think I want to change it. So now it's actually picking it up, which is good. I think we're going to change out which material design resource we use, because I want it to pick up the accent color, not the primary color. And I believe I want to do, I think I want to pick these up too. At least the size ones, because it's weird having your buttons on your dialog be able to shrink. So the vertical alignment I don't think is something I care about on here, but I do care about making sure my width and height properties are sane. Okay, so now this guy, because that now looks funny. That looks funny, and I don't like it when it looks funny. I would much prefer them to both have this flat button type look. So let's come back here. So snoop in, go up, part negative button. What style are you getting applied to? So let's see, MahApps styles, buttons, dialogues. So MahApps, this guy. This is the one we want. Let's see here. We don't actually have one. So style X key. Just slap this guy on here, and I think I'm gonna broadcast, or I'm gonna move these guys out. That goes there. That goes there. Let's see. Based on, because I know this version of the library isn't expected to be a breaking changes version, but its dependencies both are. So be aware of that. This library technically has no breaking changes in it, but the MahApps version and the material design libraries that it's dependent upon both do. So if you update it, just be aware. I'm not entirely sure what the appropriate semver policy is on that. Like, if I update a dependent library that takes a major rev, am I supposed to major rev that one as well? Let's see. What are you squawking about? What are you squawking about? Cannot resolve style property, min height. Oh, because I didn't tell it what the target type was. Uh, Target type, and let's see, X type, button, base. Now you should be able to resolve. Mountain Dew might actually make it the whole time. It's a little scary. Though I did get a whole Mountain Dew done before starting in on this problem. It looks like... So I think this is quite literally the last set of controls to test, aside from adding some hints to the flyout. Okay. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Ooh. That is an unfortunate color choice. That is a very unfortunate color choice. I'm wondering if that makes sense. So I could make this not accent colored and just go straight to the flat button. And then you end up with something like that. I don't know if I like that better or worse. Because before this was actually tied to the accent color, I believe. Let me just confirm that. No, both of these were tied to flat button. I wonder if that's the reason. Because the accent color tends to not necessarily be a readable color. It's meant to be a background color. I mean, now we could take advantage. So something we could do. So the setter property foreground. Let's see, value, dynamic resource. Now with the new theming stuff that came in 2.6.0, we do have access to. Let's see, where is it? Theme assist. T. We do have access to more colors. Let's see, theme. Because we do have this secondary dark. And I'm wondering if that might be a better pairing. Come on. Go Visual Studio. Find it. Because we could then take the secondary color and grab the darker one. Let's see. Palette helper extensions. Blah, blah, blah. Material designs. Assist. Because we could just do this. We could do this and just bring this guy in. This is accent base. We want the brush. Because we could change this guy out. Let's see. Back in dialogues. Boom. Something like that, right? I can't decide if I like that better or not. It matches the original intent better. Maybe leave it, maybe not. Let's do the palette thing again. Oh, I can't decide. This is probably going to be one of those cases where no matter what choice I pick, I'm going to break somebody else's workflow. Is that the right color? Well, that still looks like it's picked up the blue. Let's relaunch. I have a feeling it's lost its mind somewhere in the area of me changing all of this stuff. The live XAML edit and continue is nice, but it is by no means perfect. Sometimes it can be actually very not perfect. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, I can't decide. Part of me just wants to go back and have it be feature parity. It just looks like that looks like the wrong. Well, hold on. We haven't changed the theme yet. So that okay. So I can't say it's wrong because the accent color up here is clearly still the blue. Okay, so there and there. Now the accent color is clearly not blue. It's still picking that up. So what is... Because I know we're swapping these brushes because some of these are being picked up. Let's see here. Move you onto my second monitor for the moment. So delve that guy. Let's bring it back in. Okay, so yeah, that's clearly the blue, which is wrong. So let's go back up to the button and check the foreground property. Come on. Wow, Snoop. You're going to work hard. Thank you, Megan. I tend to agree with you. I don't like the green. Yeah, and this guy's still picking up MahApps foreground brush accent base. This guy is not updating. It's coming from the style. So it's clearly picked it up. This makes me question a few things. Because this should have replaced it. Set MahApps accent brush. Yeah, well, okay, so regardless, I think what we're going to do, I guess it doesn't really matter. I think we're going to whack this and just let it go to the straight. This is at least feature parity to where it was. Because I do think I agree with you, Megan. It doesn't make a lot of sense for it to... The accent color and material design tends to be a brighter popping color, which means it's almost guaranteed to not look good against a white backdrop, which the dialogues default to. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I do wonder if there is... Yeah, so that's... Both of those are going to pick up the purple, which is fine. Again, not a huge fan of it, so pink. Oh, that's interesting. As soon as I toggled pink, it changed up that palette. Interesting. Okay, accent color purple. Let's do accent color orange, just so I can tell the difference. Interesting. So something triggered there that I don't know what. Okay, I want to relaunch. I want to catch that because that when I changing just so it's gonna flow through here, and I want to go back up my call stack and figure out where it divined that. Oh, I bet you I know where it is. I actually bet you this is just a bug in the setup here. So MahApps bundled theme. This guy. this is interesting. This set the MahApps theme as the purple and green, but this didn't get updated. So this is an initial state problem. So even though this resource dictionary has it, it's not properly triggering. So let's take a look. Okay, Snoop, you are in the way. Let's see here. So secondary mid. I expect to see something along. That's not right. EA00. I need a hex code viewer. Let's do this. When in doubt, Google with Bing. Sure. Do you let me type in a hex value? I just want to see what this is. So that is coming through with the green. Okay. So that came in. Set MahApps. It should have set up a bunch of theme colors. So it does a whole bunch of stuff. There's an extra semicolon there for not sure why. Because some moron said it. We won't mention his names. Ooh, the base theme. Wait, what? Okay, that execution pointer bounced where I didn't expect, but that's somewhat acceptable. So there's all of these things that flow through. Okay, so I got myself into a broken state. Let's stop for just a minute here. So the material design stuff. Ah ha ha. This guy's doing it. There we go. That's the problem. We still had a theming library from MahApps hanging out in here. And with resources, last in wins. Betcha that's the bug. That be the bug. So when this guy launches, I expect purple and lime. Or I should say deep purple and lime. Just that. Okay, so you are working. I was going to say, this theming stuff has been out for a while. I was going to be surprised if the base material design library had a bug in it like that. Because I've built a couple apps on top of it already, and it works. Hey, look at that. It is ugly and bright green, but woo! It works. Now we're getting the right colors through. Okay. Flyout. Okay, this we need to change the defaults because that's a little much right out the gate. So rather than lime, let's go with maybe a light blue. Let's try that. See how that launches. The only reason for the deep purple and the lime was to match the other demo app, but they don't need to match. In fact, it might be helpful if they were different. Because I don't want people to fire up the demo app and go, ugh, right out the gate. That's not a good experience. That is not a good experience. There. That's prettier. I'm more okay with that. That feels a little more MahApps like. It's close to their blue. It's got our purple. Everyone can be happy. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So that comes out. Okay, so let's just fix those flyout things real quick because that's just dumb. Okay, so hint, assist, and autocode button. Hey, come on, go find it. text hint 1. Oh, come on, go figure it out. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? It is hint assist, right? A B C D E F hint assist. Yes, hint assist hint. Oh, maybe it's because I'm debugging. Really? Nothing, huh? Fine. XML, NS. We'll just do this as WPF. I think it's that one, which means I think it is WPF colon. Look at that. Okay. Hint 1. Because the fact that these things are just blank, empty text boxes just looks stupid. The demo app should be showing off how cool this library is, not showing ugly stuff. Then I think this will be done. I think. Again, I need to stop saying that, but very close. Very close. So, show me the flyout. There we go. Now it's something more like that. That looks better. That looks a lot better. Show off the cool hint stuff. Do some typing. More typing. Great. That's what we like to see. Cool. Much better. Okay. Get cracking time. Okay, stage all changes, and let's just take a quick gander through them to make sure I haven't messed anything up. We'll check it. So, bug fix there, remove the empty color there. Let's see, flyout content, add some hints. Great. Let's see here. So this brings in the style fixes. Window fixes for the font size. Great. Let me just double check that. Did it have dynamic resource? Accent color brush. One more bug. I know I say I'm going to be done, but I keep finding issues because this isn't right. This should be this one here. So we're going to go back. So for those people who care, in MahApps, you can specify a glow brush, and you'll get a nice, not really a shadow effect, but a nice glow around the outside of your window if you specify it. It looks pretty. So we should set it. Material design resource, updated to match the new MahApps resources. So that's good and that's good. Okay. So back here, stage all, great. Okay, so material design assist. That change we do not want. That is assuredly wrong. So this is why you double check before you push. Just so I don't end up having to amend my commit later. So this is fixing up all of these guys to cover the various button styles inside of the dialogues, setting them all to the flat button style. So we get that nice look. This swaps out that for the chevron control, font size resource updates. Great. Lots of dynamic resource updates. Dynamic resource update, dynamic resource updates. Great. Those we all tested. Happy with that. Range slider changes. Brings that in. More of these. these, and hopefully I've caught all of the dynamic resource stuff. Hope. Let's see. Last of the changes to support MahApps. Hello, Eloise? Eloise? Sorry, I'm probably butchering that name. I apologize. How you doing? Let's see here. So last of the changes, commit, and we will update our pull request. So push this guy up and see how it's going. Hey, thanks for the follow, by the way. I appreciate it. Okay, so there's that, and let's jump back to our, let's see, this guy here. Don't need you. Close, 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 close. Promote our pull request from a draft to a full pull request. It can become a real boy now. And there we go. Full pull request, and we will wait for this guy to complete. This needs a thumbs up because this was useful information. In case you're watching this, thank you. I appreciate all of the help on this. This saved me a bunch of time figuring this out. So as soon as this build completes, I think we're going to run through and see about pushing out a preview package. Let me just double check this because I want to check the new spec file on this guy because I believe. Okay, so got it. So let me pull open DevOps because I think this is all controlled in here. At least that was the intent. And let me just make sure I get into the right project, and then we'll drag this guy over. So here's this guy. And DevOps pipelines, and we've got a fancy, so there's the pull request build just to validate that things are working, which is great. We'll let that run. I don't expect, given that there's not any unit tests over it. So this will kick out a CI build on this, but I think what we probably want to do is kick out a MDIX MahApps. This guy is blocked on a full NuGet release. Oh, but this guy might be going out already. Oh, interesting. It looks like he's already going out on the nightly release. Oh, excellent. Oh, excellent. This might make my life really, really easy. Okay, so let's just confirm that this guy does have nightly releases going. So nice when your pipeline does exactly what you want without you having to do it. Last updated 8 days ago. Yes, because that wasn't me. That was pipeline doing its thing. Excellent, 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 excellent. So this guy has a nightly release that'll go out the door. Perfect. So I don't need to do anything. I just need to merge the pull request. It'll do its thing, and away we go. Cool. 8 days ago seems a long time. Normally these things are close to daily, as you can kind of see. 17, 18, 19, 20. Then I got busy. I apologize for anybody waiting on the builds. But if no builds go out, that means no changes were merged. So perfect. This means it is all flowing, and oops, one of these things I needed. So as soon as this guy completes, we will merge it, and then we will have MahApps integration fixed. And let's just take a quick gander at the 3.0 release. I don't think I'm going to try and attack any more issues tonight. I think we've got. Oh shoot! I think I've got an outstanding question here that I've forgotten to answer. This one's going to get fixed when we merge this. And that will drop. So this will drop at least 2 of these off. Great. Because this one was sort of fixed, and then Let's see. Let's update this so it auto closes 1349. So come back here on your. Let's see. So let's see. We'll update this. Work on getting MahApps integrated with the grid styles. Boom, boom, boom. Fixes this. No. No. I want it. I really do want 1349. I'm serious, GitHub. Trust me. Trust me on this one. The big advantage on GitHub is if you have a comment sitting on your pull request that indicates the issue that it fixes, when the pull request completes, it'll auto-complete the issue for you as well. So just a convenience thing. If people don't do it, I usually try to keep track of issues and go through and close them, but occasionally I miss things, and then somebody will come through and comment later and say, hey, fix it. Which I don't mind. If you guys find something that I've forgot to close or forgot to go through and do. Okay. So we're at running unit tests. Come on, maybe. Come on. Yeah. Definitely close to quitting time. The Mountain Dew is now empty. Definitely time. Come on. Come on. Hurry up, DevOps. Hurry up. Total tests. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, 188 tests. Are we really up to that many? That's exciting. Before, this library had 4 tests, and they weren't really testing anything in the library. So now we at least on the new stuff have some tests, and they test part of the library. The hard part is we really can't test, because this is a theme library, so much of it revolves around does it look right, and that's just not an easy thing to unit test. Woot woot. All green checkboxes. That's what we like to see. Come back over here. Refresh. Oh, didn't need the refresh. Just need to be patient for half a second. I'm sorry, GitHub. Let's see. Squash and merge. Bring this across. Great. Squash and merge. We can delete my branch now because I don't need it. And I assume 1349 is now closed. Great. And we are now closer to getting this thing fixed. So I think there's a couple of these. I'm probably going to go through and deal with at least the bugs in here and get those done. Some of these other ones may get punted. What was this one? Was this just a Yeah, so this is warning on debug output. These should probably get cleaned up. So if anybody's interested in cleaning some of these up, let me know. That would be great. But I think 3.0 is probably going to remain fixed unless people report other issues. This one down here for this snack bar, I only put it back in 3.0. I don't intend to actually fix the full problem, but there was a comment down here at the end saying that there is a behavioral change that happened between 2.6.0, and I at least want to address that. I don't think the full issue needs to be fixed. I think it was sort of working, and then we merged some changes, and then I think we broke something, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to go through and review this, and it either needs to be documented as a breaking change or fix it. So if anybody is interested in going through and checking it out and at minimum testing it and seeing, the key thing that I was looking for is just trying to make sure that I'll just pull this up real quick. So the snack bar itself is from the material design spec is expected to be able to have at least 2 lines of text, and it should be word wrapped and bring around here. I don't know if it explicitly defines what to do if it's more than 2 lines, if it should do like character ellipse or whatever on the end. But this is the desired behavior. And so this comment down here saying that before it used to wrap onto the second line, and now it's no longer wrapping, that needs to be fixed. So I suspect I broke it merging stuff in. Maybe there's something yeah, so I don't know exactly what needs to be fixed, but again, I do appreciate everyone who goes through and either reviews stuff or comments on pull requests, because it does save me a lot of time going through and looking at them. So I think with that, I am probably going to sign off for the night. I am teaching tomorrow, and I need to finish prepping my stuff. It's a good thing sleep is optional. Or at least good thing that I've had so much Mountain Dew, so that I've got at least a little bit more energy to get through this. But the good news is MahApps integration for 2.0 support is in. I don't anticipate any more breaking changes in MahApps 2.0. Our integration library will probably stay as a preview release until MahApps 2.0 officially releases. So if anybody is using MahApps and is able to update and at minimum give me feedback on how things look, work, if there's breakages and all of the stuff that I just changed, please let me know. I'd love to catch that stuff prior to a release. So if you're able to test with the new preview package, the stuff from tonight will go out. I think the pipeline runs in like 2.5 hours, something like that. I have it set up to run at an hour of the morning where I won't be awake, which means I won't be merging pull requests. So within probably the next 4 or 5 hours, there should be a new NuGet package with the MahApps stuff in and fixed and ready to go. Just make sure you're pulling in preview packages for everything. So preview packages for MahApps, preview packages for material design. And all of that should work. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Say happy coding. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in and chiming in. I enjoy when there's a little more discussion rather than me just talking to myself and going for a couple hours. So you guys have all a good night. Again, next week's stream is going to end up being on Thursday rather than Monday. There's a pretty good chance going forward my streams might be switching days onto Thursday. My personal schedule is changing, and so I think Thursday is going to be a better day for me. But I'm still going to try and do weekly streams, and you can always find them up on YouTube. So for those people, you can find them all there. So they will get posted usually within about 24 hours. I try to stay on top of them. So you guys have all a good night, and I will see everyone next week.